Peace and blessings, everybody. How you doing? This is your boy Gerald. I know I normally put my videos out pattern more or less during the weekends because, early in the morning, early on the weekends, I more or less take that time to reflect on the week. However, I discovered something. Actually, I didn't discover it. I had a breakthrough that was so impactful that I wanted to share this. So I'm going to throw this disclaimer out. I'm going to put a lot out. Rewind it if you have to. But it has to do with your life. So I hope you take in what I'm about to convey, because I was kind of shocked how things manifested. And as you already know, I'm a firm believer of synchronicity and understanding serendipity as well. So that's my disclaimer. Alright, I hope your weekend was blessed, peaceful. Whatever challenges that you were faced, you were able to navigate as best you could, but you didn't let it consume you, because you're here another day. Now, let me throw this out there for those who may have not seen my videos before. My name is Gerald Davis. I'm a life coach. I am an aspiring psychologist. In October of 2011, I made the greatest decision of my life, and that was to embrace my spiritual journey. So the message that I'm going to convey from you comes from spirit. I'm not a minister, but I have a very, very strong discernment. As you already know, your higher power, He is one of many names. He is one of unconditional love. For those in the Christian community, they know it is agape. That means it's forever flowing, because it's pure. And your life is supposed to be that way. However, your life is filled with challenges as well as adversities to transition you to each phase of your life. So if you're getting this video, if this video was shared to you, this message was directly for you to receive. So first and foremost, welcome. Okay. A couple months ago, I received an email. Someone sent an email to me, hello, and they wanted for me to do a discussion on twin flames or soulmates. And I imagine some of you may dabble or look at your monthly sun sign. Some of you maybe, some may even expound to that you know your moon sign and your ascendant sign. For me, I was born in March 7th. I'm a Pisces. And it's so ironic, no it's not, it's so divine that where I am in my life right now, it is really, it's like a template. Everything that has been described has been manifested in my life. And I look at it now it's not that it wasn't supposed to come to pass then, I wasn't ready for it. Because your life is so precious and so divine, you have to have a certain mindset and actually be able to receive whatever information that is being presented. And depending on where you are, the information or knowledge that you need may be right in your face and you don't even see it. So if this message is for you, It is time. I gotta throw another disclaimer out. My voice is kind of raspy because I worked late last night. Oh, by the way, my shout out. I want to give a shout out for those that may be concerned about the government shutdown. Listen, let me tell you something. Don't, as I've always said, do not get caught up with what you see put out in the media, what you hear from the media. They're there to sway your opinion. If they can sway your opinion, then they can possibly sway your actions. Do not, I repeat, do not get caught up in the hype. There's a blessing through every adversity if you allow yourself to embrace it. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox on that. So, you're going to be fine. Don't trip. If anything, there's going to be blessings coming from that. Because guess what? What's going to happen is those people that do not have your best interest are going to be revealed. They're going to trip up and slip up, and they're going to make themselves known. I told you that a fraud does not need your help to expose themselves. Their actions always do. And that's okay. It just shows where they lack in their life. However, the duality is the like-mindedness. So you got to look at how much you value your life, your purpose. Some of us may have been caught up because of events, and it's caused a distraction for where you are intended to go. As I mentioned before, your legacy, your destiny. There are some people that do not and will not earn the right to see it come to pass. So always leave the spiritual door open, because they'll be the ones leaving. They will be. The ones that truly value who you are, guess what? They always got you in the best interest. They're always praying for you. You don't know that, but they are. And guess what? They are also doing the work. They are transforming themselves, because to have that access, there is a price that must be paid. That is why like-mindedness is like-mindedness. Once again, remember I talked about how we are entering October, and October is represented by Libra. Libra is the scales. So you're going to seek balance in everything that you do. If you value who you are, you're not going to take a position of acceptance. If it's not pure, it will fall apart. It will dissolve. Do not be afraid of that. Do not. It must come to pass for you to have what is intentionally destined for you. Your name, as I said, see, God has already written, or your higher power has already written your destiny before you took your first breath. But see, we as human beings, but we're spiritual beings first, unaware, as well as because we got free will, we allow our fears, our ego, our pride. And you can't do that. You cannot do that. Stay true to your heart. Please discern. Ladies, don't get caught up in the okie doke. My kings, it's time to handle your business. Now, this is a reason why I'm putting this out now. I'm sorry. I gotta. But I know y'all understand, because everything I'm saying is out of love. Because you guys deserve that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you that right now. You guys, you deserve to have the life that is destined for you. So I'm going to always throw prayers out there, because I know somebody, somewhere, is speaking my name in prayer. So as I'm saying this, I'm bonded to you. There's no financial reward in that. There's spiritual reward, and that's priceless. All right, so this is what I'm going. I've already broke 10 minutes, so this is what I wanted to share. So a couple months ago, somebody wanted me to talk about twin flames, and they wanted to understand soulmates. And so, I started doing research, and I'm taking all this stuff in. However, some of you have with your whoever your carrier is for your TV, you may have the DVR option. Well, I always made a point to record T.D. Jakes' sermons. I always do. And I had not been watching them for quite a period of time. So last week, this started last week, I'm cleaning my place, and I got it on, and Pastor Jakes was talking about soul ties. I sat down and I started listening to his sermon, and how he used the example. The first recorded soul tie was with Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. And a lot of times people think that, well, okay, he was frustrated because he had to cast Hagar and his son to the wilderness. But actually what he did was he opened the door, because God did not will that. So in turn he had to prove himself, or his faith, to God. You guys know what happened. That was the first example of a soul tie. Because a lot of times his biggest barrier was his ego and his pride, because he was basing what his reality was compared to what his faith was trying to direct him to do. There's the price. But in actuality, what it's not said, and I'm taking this from what Pastor Jake said, it was the soul tie that he had. It was the physical, emotional connection that he had with Hagar. But he's married. There's a lack there, because Sarah couldn't give a child, and he wanted a child. So, what am I getting at is this. As I'm watching the sermons, I noticed that I had like 5 of them that had already were pre-recorded. Each day, this was the sermon I kept seeing. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've got my options set for new recordings. What I didn't know was there was a lesson being revealed. I didn't know it. Excuse me. So, fast forward. So I'm turning around, and I have to go to the bank and do some business there. And as I'm waiting, I meet this lady. Beautiful lady. Beautiful, spirited lady. And we got to talking about the things I needed to take care of. And then she shared some things about her life. And we're in the spirit at the time, and then next thing it impacted me so much that when I left, I'm going to work, I'm still processing that connect. So when I get home last night, my spirit moved me to look up what a soul tie is compared to a soul mate. And then it hit me. See, society will never tell you the things that you need to know upright. Why? Because there's always a benefit for them first. They're banking that you stay you stay not informed, and therefore you just go with the flow. So when I looked it up, and here's the big part, a soul tie is the connection that you have with a person that is not blessed. I'll go further than that. Look at where you are right now. Now go back. Now I need you to be totally honest with yourself. Nobody's looking. Nobody. It's just you. You and me. Now I need you to open your heart. Put your pride and ego to the side. Okay, you ready for this? You've got a soul tie with someone that you know that your heart skips a beat for. And it's so intense that it stops time, the location, or events. It doesn't matter. Because that connection gave you something that you lacked. But there was a price for it. The price was upheaval. You went through hell with this person. And you're saying to yourself, if this person didn't have this one thing, I would spend the rest of my days with them. See, what you're doing is not knowing, is you are projecting the things that you lack to that person, and it resonates back. So that gives you a condition to accept or bring in an illusion. Here's another thing. The soul ties that you have within you are the sole reasons why you act and function the way you do now. My queens, for those that still have that bitterment in your spirit, the same bitterment is the same love that you have for that one person or people that hurts you. It's kind of like a catch-22. It's kind of like you brought into an environment not knowing, but it feels right, and you're expecting something, and you get the opposite. And you're saying to yourself, well, why are you doing this? I care about you. You're supposed to build me up, but you keep tearing me down. Why am I not being heard? Why won't you change? One, they won't change until they choose to change. Can they change? Yes, they can. But that is not the connect. They are the ones that teach you the lessons that you must embrace. May it be good or bad. I'll go one further. I'm going to go there because I love y'all. Some of y'all might be in a conundrum where you want somebody in your life so bad, and you have a template in your mind of what this person is going to be. What you want, not what you need, what you want. And remember, you know the devil is like a lion in wait with the sole purpose of kill and destroy, to break you down, because he doesn't want you to discover who you are. He doesn't want that. So he's going to bring that person into your life to every specific that you desire. But then there's the kicker. You find yourself saying, you know what? I'm happy with this person. They inspire me. And then you find out, not knowing, they married. Or they have a circumstance that you know you can't condone. So it causes you a problem, because you have to make a decision to either condone or walk away. But some of you may be saying, well, you know, I don't want to walk away from my heart because I've never been this happy in my life. But for each and every blissful moment, there are 4 or 5 setbacks with this person. And it frustrates you. But here's the kicker on that. What you don't realize is they are conditioning you. And what is happening is the traits that you don't like, they are actually being embraced in you. Remember how I said that the two will come one? Remember when I said, well, how many of y'all seen this? You got someone you care about. They meet somebody and they are smitten about this person. And the more and more that they're with this person, the more and more that person's traits are exemplified through that person. And it's to the point that they walk, talk, dress. They are that person. Why? It is that spiritual tie. See, my queens, my kings, do not get it twisted. This is for both of you. Every time that you give your body to someone else, part of you is with them, and part of them is with you. I'll go one even further. Let's just say, you say, you know what? I messed up in my past. I was never faithful to nobody. I wasn't even faithful to myself. And then this person comes into my life and makes my jagged edges smooth. I see purpose with being with them. Now, come on now, that ain't your purpose. That's nothing but an illusion. But you happy. You think you happy. You think you're happy. But what actually was happening is you're getting conditioned. It's like the roles will reverse. So whoever was the aggressor or the pursuer will eventually become the prey. See what I'm saying? You see where I'm getting at? The same energy that you give off is the same energy you're going to get back. And it has to do with the first soul tie you embraced. For some of you, that you might have to go back 30 years. The first time you were intimate, you had a soul tie. Why? Because you think about it. But for every experience that you are embracing, or better yet, have you noticed you get a certain mindset when a person crosses your mind? It like takes you back to that moment. Usually it's a good, but then the bad always overshadows, and that's where logic actually brings balance, because you see it now. You don't see the red flags then. The reason why you don't see the red flags is that's the area that you need to work on within yourself. Some of you may be saying, well, you know what, Gerald? I've never had a relationship that was loving. The reason for that is because you're not loving yourself. Come on, mama. What I'm saying is, y'all, is you gotta take ownership of your life. Your life doesn't have a open door or a turnstile where anybody can come in and do whatever they want to do to you and go on about their business, leaving you to pick up the pieces. Because the reason why you have memories like that, because those are soul ties. It's not blessed. For example, here's a segue. It is also the foundation of what we know as a generational curse. Daddy might have been the cheater. Wasn't taking care of business. He was selfish. Well, guess what? Somebody taught him how to do that. And he took those traits from that experience and used that as a template for the way to live his life. Well, guess what? Daddy ain't happy. So daddy might have a serious drinking problem. Daddy might be doing drugs. Daddy may not be able to hold a job. Why? Because daddy is in hell. He's in torment within himself. But in actuality, all he wants to do is be right. And every time he tries to make a shift for the better, he gets knocked on his butt. By what? A soul tie. Something or someone will bring back a spark of nostalgia to cause them to backslide. You see how everything's connecting, y'all? You see it? So, my queens, I know y'all are saying, well, Gerald, that might be true, but how can I change it? You haven't said anything about how I can change this. Okay. Here it is. You have to be honest with yourself. Every person that you shared an intimate connection, that's what I'm saying, every person that you allowed to have sex with you, you have to speak their name and ask for forgiveness. You have to do that. If you do that, guess what? That's how you break the tie. Ask for forgiveness of them and ask that God or your higher power step in. Some of you are so broken, the only way that you see a smile is in your dreams. My queens, do not do that. If you could only see the beauty that resonates within you, you wouldn't do it. That is why you hear so many women say men are dogs. You know why? Because those people do not take ownership of their lives. Because a person cannot do anything you won't allow. Unless, and if they did, well, guess what? That's assault. That's rape. So you can't take the denial and say, well, you know what? I didn't want to sleep with him, but we slept together. You know what? You had to take ownership and allow it to happen. Therefore, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and accept that you made a mistake. and ask for clarity. Ask for peace of mind. If you don't do that, guess what happens? You're going to keep suffering. And worse, the man that is destined to be in your life to fulfill your heart, because first of all, you set the template of what you wish to receive, good or bad. He can't get to you. He can't find you until you find yourself. So my queens, that is why a lot of you are so angry now, because you have traumas and pains that you have compartmentalized. And you use that as, that's why some of you will say, well, you know what? I just want my voice to be heard. Why don't people get me? That's why some of you are having to deal with the perception of how you're portrayed out in the world, because of that is the block. That's why, how many times you end up finding yourself saying, well, you know what? You're arguing with people that you care about, and they said, well, if you only took the time to actually get to know me, if you listen, not hear what I'm saying, because sometimes, as we do know this, queens, that some of your greatest messages are not spoken by word, they're by action. And that's what you want in a man. You want a man to be consistent. He may be an asshole all day, but if he's consistent, you can balance your emotions with that by making a choice if that's what you want to do or not. But at first, you must take ownership in who you are. My queens, don't you want to be happy? My kings, don't you want to have the life that is ordained with your name? You got to take ownership. You got to sever those soul ties. You got to do it. That's why they come back in your life repeatedly. Because there's no way of measurement of time or space. It's spiritual. And they keep coming back because you didn't get the lesson. So what do some people do? They say, well, you know what? It didn't work. I'll move on. Just like that. And guess what? The next person that you bring in, you turn around and you sleep with them, and you're more miserable than where you were, because you never atoned for the lessons that should have been embraced in the beginning. Why? What you running from? You running from yourself? You don't want to be happy? God loves you too much. Some of you right now are dealing with conditions that you don't understand. You would never have foresaw in a million years. But that's your reality. And you feel like your life doesn't have a purpose. My queens, look at your environment. Look at your environment. Look at your circle. If your circle is now trying to build you up, why are you there? Because misery loves company. You got to take ownership of your life. That is better known as a burden. Some of you was looking for love the wrong way, and you sacrificed your body. You offered your body, your heart, and it got stomped out. It got abused, got traumatized. And you giving up on yourself. You said, well, you know what? It is what it is. The chips fall where they fall. No, they don't. They only fall that way because you choose not to own it or change it. My queens, you're supposed to have a smile on your face and a glow in your spirit. My kings, you're supposed to represent and be proud of who you are, because guess what? You have dominion of your environment. You want a queen in your life to love you unconditionally? Make sure that she loves herself first, and you doing the same. That is why you just defined the yoke right there, my brother. I sure did. But there's a purpose in that. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Now, let me segue this real quick because I don't want to spin this out of control. I had to put that out there because some of y'all are walking around with your chest puffed out thinking that you're doing something, but you're playing yourself. You ain't happy, and you're like a bull in a china shop. Everywhere you go, you're just causing drama. And all you want to do is find a place in your heart, in your spirit, to finally find peace. But your ego and pride has convinced you that you can't see the wrongs. You don't want to see the wrongs because it's ugly. It's nasty. It's trifling. Well, guess what? God loves you so much, He's going to give you courage. He's going to bring people in your life to change your mindset. Now, we all have free will. We all have free will. But if you're constantly seeing signs, I'm not talking about red flags because that's your reality. Some of you are in a position right now that if you could undo time, you would run back in your mind and stop and go right there and say, you know what, I'll never do that. Because where I am now, I'm in pain, I'm dying inside. But it seems like no one is hearing me. I just want to be loved. Baby, love yourself. Love yourself. Because as you embrace your spirituality, what is going to happen is the people that truly have your best interest, they ain't going nowhere. They're the opposite of the soul ties. They're your soul mates. Because they resonate from a place of love. They don't want to tear you down. They want to build you up. But you got to receive it. You got to be able to own who you are. Stop passing the buck, playing the victim. How long you gonna lay there? How long you gonna allow this person to manipulate and control how you are? You ain't no robot. But here's the lesson. The reason why you feeling this right now and going through this right now is because you did the same thing to other people. And you're learning what it feels like. Yeah. Energy out is energy in. So if you don't know your self-worth, you're going to turn around and give yourself away to the mailman or give yourself away to whoever. They don't care about you. They never did. You're just a prop. The reason why is because there is a like-mindedness between you. That is the soul tie. Because they want the same thing that you want, but it's not blessed. So guess what? Somebody got to lose. Why has it got to be you? Why? And you know what happens to these people that do not see their worth, do not want to invest and put their higher power first? They end up alone. Their life never comes to pass. And they're bitter. You've probably seen them. You see them out there all the time. That homeless person didn't get there by choice. They didn't wake up and say, hey, I'm homeless and I want to be there. Well, guess what? You got to change. You got free will to change whatever situation you're in, but death. But you got to be able to humble yourself. There's a difference between being proud of yourself and having pride. Pride will always set you back. A country dude once had a song out called Here's Your Sign. And the backdrop of that was every time this person did something, that was the lesson. So he would say, here's your sign. Well, if you got somebody that is calling you out your name, bold enough to put their hands on you, not support you in no aspect, there's your sign. That means that's the same areas you need to work on for yourself first. You don't do it for anybody else. You do it for yourself. That is not being selfish. That is being selfless. Because your life, you only got one life. One. Make it count. Let me backdrop real quick. That is also the foundation and the seeds of a generational curse. So the behaviors that you are carrying are being exemplified. Guess what? You learned that from your family or whoever was influential in your life, in your development. And if you're not careful, because I know you got a good heart, but if you have children, not only are they going to embrace those same teachings, it's going to be worse. And in turn, what's going to happen is you're going to suffer even more, because no parent wants to watch their children suffer and they can't take it away. Don't do yourself an injustice like that. Don't do that. Now, lastly, a twin flame. The twin flame is the greatest lesson that you'll learn. So you got to understand, there is someone divinely tied to you from a spiritual nature that, just like the soul tie, they have to be at a certain level to first foresee and understand what is being revealed. And when they do, they take a position to ensure that that bond is protected at all costs. But they will not interfere, because it's your walk and their walk. If you're in a situation when you constantly are seeing this person and they don't even click with your environment, they don't. Why? Because they're being protected, because they're better than that. That has nothing to do with ego. It has nothing to do with pride. God has put that person in your life, and that's the person that you're supposed to spend your days with. They also know that the fact that even though we have free will, they pray for you all the time. You may have had run-ins with this person. You may have had a relationship with this person. You may have had two ships in a night, and it felt like heaven. And for whatever reason, you guys parted ways. But guess what? Your heart and mind were yoked. That's what I'm describing. Your yoke. That is your mate on this planet. That's who they are. So they cannot give you the gifts that are intended for you until you see your worth. Until you stop damaging who you are. So you gotta understand something. People cannot respect you unless you respect yourself. People cannot love you unless you love yourself first. You set that template. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some of you may have been married, and for whatever reason, it ended wrong. And you still are carrying that seed of pain. Some of you are still carrying the pain from your childhood. And that was the impact on all your relationships thus far. And guess what? It ain't worked out. See, the devil wants you to stay there. The devil wants to kill you. He don't want you to be happy. He wants you to turn around and look at the world in the most bitter, negative light. You know what I just described? A backslider. Because a backslider, no matter what it is always, if you go right, they're going to go left. And they're hoping that you don't see them for who they are. You better love yourself. You got to love yourself, y'all. So for those connections, if you're dealing with a situation where you're reaching out, or what you shouldn't do, ladies, because as I told you, The man that's destined to be with you is going to come to you. They are spiritually grounded. They see your worth. So they ain't rushing nothing. They ain't got to. They're constantly working on themselves. And the worst thing that you can do is let your arrogance and pride move your blessing to someone else. Because that's what God does. He takes a blessing that is intended to be appreciated, and if you don't appreciate it, He's going to take your blessing away. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. All this, as I just described, is the requirement that is needed to protect the yoke. All your experiences that you're feeling, if you are openly sleeping with everybody and they're constantly just taking advantage of you having sexual relations like you're married with someone. Why? They will never see your. That's just like making a deal with someone who's breaking in your house. They don't care what damage is done. They don't see the worth. They're not supposed to. They're there to distract you from yourself. My kings and queens, if you want to be happy, if you want your blessings to manifest in your life, I'm talking about that life that you feel in your mind, in your heart. That is what fosters your will. That's what fosters your determination. But it just seems like you got a bad flyer and you have to break the cycle. I mean, queens, let me tell you something. You could have the most beautiful face. You could be the smartest person in the world and have the most alluring body. But if you don't love yourself, it's the greatest loss ever. And as you already know, there's a lot of women out there falling victim to this. But guess what? There's just as many men. You need to start loving yourself. You got to forgive yourself. Learn from your mistakes. See your self-worth. And forgive those people that hurt you. Truly, forgive them. Don't hold grudges. Because the more you hold grudges on these people, that is a door for them to come back. To give you more pain. But when you walk in truth, and you see your worth, you're going to do the work. And some of your journey may mean you got to find solitude. I told you, the people that love and care about you genuinely, they don't track time. They don't. They don't have to. They already know why they're in your life. They want you to be proud of yourself just as much as they want you to be proud of them. But if you've fallen for the okie doke, because the devil don't care about you, he gonna keep bringing you that dude that all he gonna do is come over just to smash, just to take your money, to keep you shackled. You gotta break that. And my kings, if you turn around and doing the same thing, you gotta break that shackle, because there's no love there. Unfortunately. Until that person makes a decision to change. Truly. And time will always tell this. And if everything is right, guess what? Even if that person's out of your life, that's why you keep thinking about that one that got away. That is the one that's your yoke. But if you do the work, truly do the work, because God knows what you're gonna do before you do it. Don't even fool yourself. The sooner you do this, sooner your life will be as you desire it to be, because it's blessed. So, I hope you guys have a blessed day. I know it was long, but I had to put this out. And lastly, like I said, each one of these people that you had access to you, if it was physical or whatever the dynamic was that did you wrong, you got to speak their name, ask for forgiveness, and ask for that time to be healed. And what will happen is, if those persons are truly in that place, you won't see them no more. They'll disappear from your life, as well as that burden will fall from yours, and you're worth it. So, you have a blessed day, have a blessed week. Always put God first in everything you do. Stay protective, y'all. God prayed for me. I'm praying for you because you're worth it. Have a blessed day, y'all.